It is Sunday, May 16th, and I'm going to do a little backyard garden update. You can see some of my micro climates or micro environments there. We've been using them kind of as a greenhouse, but then also shade and shade here. These are our tomato plants that we are hardening off. We also converted my utility trailer for a little bit of a micro environment in there. A whole bunch of tomato plants being hardened off. We knocked together a quick potting bench for Jennifer to transplant some of our seedlings that we've been growing inside. And we have some onions, more onions. Those are some herbs in there. But some of the stuff we've already planted down in our garden. Right now we have 10 beds in place. These 8 are brand new to us. These 2 we set up last fall. I have 4 more to go in. There'll be 1, 2 there, and then we'll have 2 more in the back. We may put a couple more beds out here. Jennifer's up there planting some of her annuals and perennials. We have some lettuce in this bed here, along with our peas are planted in here. We have nothing in here yet, there, or there. Nothing in this bed yet, or in this bed. I think tomatoes are going in those 2, but we also have some beets going on in here and some onions, the garlic obviously, I've talked about that before, and we have some shallots in this bed. There used to be 2 piles of dirt back here. One was old dirt that was just scraped off from the backyard, from the original garden, and then we had some topsoil growing medium in there. And what I've been doing is, as I have been building these beds, I've been filling the lower half with that old soil, and because we wanted to move this material out of here. And then we've been using some loam and some seafood compost mixed together to fill it the rest of the way to the top. So this pile here is what's left over of our old garden soil, and I used my terramite, my trusty terramite, to move that pile of wood chips that I had put back here last fall after our last chipping exercise. So I moved 2 piles of dirt out of there, moved the wood chips from there on over to here, and this is going to be our composting area. It is not ideal because it's underneath pine trees and that creates acidic soil, but we have no choice with what we can do with a ½ acre. So we have our 2 composting drums for all of our food scraps, and this is wood chips, grass clippings, some leaves. We will be mixing some of that in when we need brown stuff. We can take from here and put it in there on top of our green stuff. Anyway, so that's what we're working on there, a little bit of composting. So I mentioned earlier, I have 2 more beds to put in here, but I had a big pile of that seafood compost here, and that pile of loam was where the seafood compost is. So I used my terramite, I picked up all of that loam, and I drove it around and made a pile up there. Then I picked up all of the seafood compost and I moved it to where the loam is. Now I can set up a bed, fill it with the terramite, set up another bed, fill it from this side using the terramite, and that's a pretty efficient way to do it. What we don't use for loam in our gardens, we're going to start to create a lawn up in there. So it was okay to move it up there. It's just a temporary setup for us. We have ordered our 2 275-gallon IBC totes from Tractor Supply. They had them on sale for $20 off, and they should be arriving in a couple of weeks, and they are going to be up towards the house, 1, 2, and then we've got a gutter that'll run along the eaves and a downspout that'll go into it. We'll have a pump and be able to force water down here. This roof here is 1,000 square feet, and if you have 1 inch of water falling on 1,000 square feet, you have 636 gallons. We have between 20 and 30 inches of rain in our area, so that's around 12,000 gallons of water that we've been throwing away. Believe it or not, here in Franklin, Maine, we are on town water, and it's really low pressure. So we're going to solve the issue by installing our own water system, rainwater harvesting system. So that's largely it for our update of the new backyard vegetable garden, and I hope you guys have had a good weekend.